Hello, everybody. Welcome to another TIBS TV mini chat. I'm your host, Joan Turner. This is your co-host, Deborah Carpenter, and we are very excited to be here. And I don't know why we call them mini chats, Deb, but some of these mini chats are longer than our regular show.
Yeah, they are.
Regular than some of our shows. But I'll tell you, we're totally enjoying them and enjoying the informativeness of it all. Okay, and so, because of what's going on, the pandemic and cool stuff like that, or uncool stuff like that in the world, we have been bringing back some of our, and some are new, but some people that, we think will help, that have a lot to offer.
That have been on the show.
Yeah. So today we have an author. She is an author. She's the author of a book called Journey of Spirit Rising, Journey of the Spirit Rising. She's a spiritualist and she's a ministerial counselor. She's also the founder of Spirit Rising Ministries. Okay, and she's a friend, she's an artist, and an enthusiastic dancer. Sometimes we go to our class and we dance in our class. So everyone, so everyone, help us welcome Paula Richards into the room. We're coming to you via Zoom. Okay, so here's Paula. We're going to let her back in. Okay, maybe. Oh, here she comes. Hello, Paula. Can you see us, hear us, all that good stuff?
I can.
All right, very good. We want to welcome you, and I was telling everyone that this is actually your second time on TIBS TV, and we thought that we would like to talk to you because, of what's going on in the world right now, and I was telling them you wrote a book, you're a spiritual ministerial counselor, all this good stuff. First, if there's anything you'd like to add to that, go ahead and add that to that. But my first question is, how is all this impacting you? I know that you're managing care for an older parent as well.
I am. I'm a caregiver.
We're losing the video part, honey. I mean the audio part. The good part about Zoom, we're all becoming very resourceful here, learning.
I'm not muted.
Oh, okay, now we can hear you. All right.
Okay. All right. Yeah,
So
I'm caregiver for my 98-year-old mom, and in a lot of ways, we're blessed during this pandemic because I'm living in my childhood home. We have a safe roof over our head. Neither of us were working outside the home, for the most part, so we weren't paycheck dependent. So in a lot of ways, I feel like we're blessed and better off than many folks. So, but it's very challenging. I've been dealing with being home a lot over the last 2 years anyways.
mm-hmm.
Because if I go out, I need a mom sitter, but it's interesting. I really thought being here 24/7 would be more stressful. And in some ways, I find it less stressful.
Really? You're totally surprising me here. I thought you were going to say exactly the opposite.
Well, and I thought I would be too, Joan. And I can't really put my finger on it exactly. I think some of it is just the surrender. I no longer have a choice. It's just a state of complete surrender. And I think too there is the component that I'm not trying to get her and myself ready and out the door to be places at certain times and stuff.
I didn't think of that.
It can be stressful when you're dealing with someone
Less stressful.
Needs a lot of care.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so that's made it easier. I'm a little more relaxed. I like to be on time for things, and there's always something that threw a wrench in the works and we'd be late, So,
Gee, I have no knowledge about anything like that. I am always on time, always organized, always just possibly. How is this affecting your mother? Is she aware of kind of what's going on? I mean, she knows she has you home more, I'm sure. How is she doing with it?
She must like it.
I'm not sure that she notices that much difference.
Hmm.
Once in a while, she'll say, "Let's go out for dinner or something," and I'll say, "Well,
Uh-huh.
we can't. Well, the restaurants aren't open, so."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Restaurants aren't open, and it's actually just um, some of them, you think some of them are still doing takeout and whatnot, but
Yeah.
other than that, some of them are closed. We were trying to order Chinese food the other day, and we could not find a Chinese restaurant anywhere that was even doing home deliveries. So it
Really?
really is affecting people. I mean, Chinese food, I always thought that
That was a staple.
yeah, stable. And I always thought that a lot of their income came from takeout, but apparently not enough to actually keep them open. So I was kind of surprised by all of that.
Yeah.
So we know that, financially, people are being impacted. And like you said, there are a lot of people working from home, so they're still receiving an income. So maybe financially they're not that impacted yet. But there are a lot of people who are losing their jobs. There are people who are self-employed who are not able to, they're applying for unemployment because I guess now if you're self-employed, you can apply for unemployment, especially during this time. But the people who have done so, I've talked to two people who have done that. And what has happened is if you even make the tiniest little mistake on your application, they're kind of like, okay, well, come back to this one later, or they're not getting the help that they need. So I think finance is one, and the other things are the isolation and just feeling lonely. That's what we keep hearing and getting. So it's like, how do people work with that? So if someone calls you, you're a spiritualist, ministerial counselor. If someone calls you, how do you handle that?
Um, well, first, I no longer feel that we're ever alone. I'm starting to connect to something deeper and higher, but um, I do try to remind people of that we're not alone. Even- Am I hearing my own voice echo or?
No, you're actually hearing something that's going on in other people, but you won't hear it anymore.
Oh, okay, thanks. Even for people who've lost loved ones and stuff, not just recently, whatever. I mean, I find now that um, I can sometimes feel closer to my dad and my husband who passed now
Mm-hmm.
than I could when they were here physically. So I think this isolation is an opportunity for us to open up to experiencing that we're not alone in a different way, in a deeper way.
Don't
And
you feel that it quiets the mind more when you, well, there's no more activities going on around you. You're just sitting there ready to put the TV on and you're thinking about different people and there's just more time to get inside and think. Is that what you're saying?
there,
Yeah.
there is, and for those of us who are mostly at home, it's like there's no more excuses. We used to say, "Oh, if I had more time, I would meditate, or I would journal, or I would do this, or I would do that." And now, I'll catch myself. I'm like, I don't have any excuses anymore. Why aren't I doing yoga or, something to make myself more peaceful, more centered, or whatever?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So now, all right. So you're talking about like being by yourself, people dealing with the isolation, so on and so forth. So how do you get them to do that? You know, if they say, look, I feel lonely, I'm having a hard time, I feel disconnected. I had one guy call me and he's like, I feel so disconnected. He said, I haven't talked to people for like 2 weeks, and you know, I keep trying to do all these links online so I can connect online like everyone else. I'm not able to do it. And he just feels like a lost soul. So how do you take someone like that and say, look, you know, you're not alone in the universe, because you know that, I know that, Debbie knows that, but not everyone knows that. So, I mean, you know, if you're going to try to create a level of awareness in someone, it's going to take more than a 2-minute phone call. So, you know, how do you take someone like that? Because like I said, if you live alone, then you can say, yep, I know that I'm not really alone. I connected to God, the universe, wherever you think your source of power comes from. But then you have people who have these huge families, and I know I'm double questioning my question here, but it's like a lot of people don't have that level of awareness yet, okay? So, I mean, it's not like throwing stones at anyone, but they just, you know, they don't have that. So if someone calls you and says, look, you know, I'm having a really hard time doing it, you know, do you teach them how to meditate? Do you just talk to them? Do you just, you know, what are some of the things that they could do to not feel that way?
One of the things they could do is maybe just start corresponding, writing to people.
A lost art, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's lost art, and there's something about that handwritten note, that slower form of communication. As you're writing, you can tend to feel a connection, I think, in a different way than you do necessarily over the computer or the quick text or whatever. You know, it might be a good time to write a letter to all those that you love, telling them what they mean to you in your life or whatever, in a way. You know, sometimes face to face we get embarrassed to say things.
Or
But
you don't necessarily have to send the letter, right? Just the art of, or the process of writing and getting your feelings out, even if it is feelings of isolation or whatever, writing them down or journaling them is actually a really good idea.
yeah, and it may be something you choose to send or not.
Yeah.
I would suggest maybe writing it without the intent to send it, and that way you won't censor anything you want to say, you know?
That's right. That's right. That's right. I think that's a great idea. Okay. So this is something that a person without any kind of, for lack of a better word, spiritual awareness, and I don't mean it in a religious sense,
Right.
because you were talking about, you know, I never feel alone. I know that I'm not alone, so on and so forth. But you are a spiritual counselor. So that's part of your life. Okay. Part of our life. It's what we do. We do a lot of energy work. But most people, or a lot of people, okay, don't have that thought process. And again, it's not a matter of like throwing stones at people and saying, gee, you know, they're unaware or they're this or that. It's just that their life process is different right now. They're focused on different things.
Right.
So you have,
We're all at different levels of awareness,
right.
and at different times too, you know. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think journaling is like a really cool thing to do, and you don't have to, you know, all you have to do is kind of write how you feel. And like you said, if you actually don't do it with the intention of sending it, then you're not censoring any feelings or thoughts.
Right.
So if someone is, you know, I had someone who kind of called and it's like, you know, I'm feeling depression, I'm feeling loneliness, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. So, you know, I was like, well, you know, are you interested in meditation? Are you interested in this? You know, but the thing that helped her the most was just sitting and talking to her. You know, how was your day? Plus, they like the visual, you know, talking like on the phone, like to my auntie and stuff like that is very cool. But if you actually, you know, my girlfriend said to me, well, can we video chat? I want to see you. So I think that adds another component to it. So for this particular girl, actually just talking to her was, you know, the best kind of medicine for her. But obviously, you know, you'd be on the phone all day.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, what can people do if they're by themselves? I think focus on something that you really enjoy. Okay, if you like to cook a big pot of soup and give it to your neighbors. What she does.
Find out who your neighbors are.
Find out who your neighbors are. So, I think if you like to cook. If you like to paint, we're lucky, we have an artistic streak in us. So we like to paint, and I actually try to play my ukulele. And even though I don't do it that well, at least you do it.
Yeah.
Even taking care of yourself physically, take a nice bath.
Walk on the treadmill.
Yeah, pamper yourself a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. Certainly, the art helps me, or my writing. My mom and I like to do jigsaw puzzles. So yeah, that helps a lot.
The games are totally amazing. I have never played games online, but I have been playing games like with 8 people nonstop. We're doing crosswords, we're doing this. So, and some of them I've never even met, you know what I mean? But they just, because they are looking for something to do, they send you an invite. And so I thought, gee, what a great idea. So I've sent out several invites myself. So I spend like 2 hours a day playing Scrabble and Word, whatever, So that's, something like that is reaching out in a fun way as well.
Reading.
Yeah. The other thing you were saying about loneliness, whether it's loneliness or feeling a lack financial, whatever is making you anxious, if you can take that and help somebody else not feel what you're feeling. If you're lonely, one of the best ways to get out of it is to think about someone else who might be lonely and reach out to them.
Good.
Or if you're worried about money, and so many people are worried about money right now, and I get that, even though we're in a relatively peaceful spot ourselves right now, we don't know what the future's going to bring. But like I can remember quite a few years ago, the first time the gas prices really spiked, and everyone was going to the pump and looking at how high the price was. And I wasn't going to do that anymore. And every time I went to the pump, I not only didn't look at how much it was costing me, but I tipped the gas man $1.
What do you mean a gas man? The places where they pump gas. Come on, where is it? Show me. Yeah. Show me the gas. I always have to pump my own gas. There's nowhere around here where they do it for you.
That's one luxury that I've kept. I know how to pump my own gas, but I don't if I don't have to.
I wouldn't either.
But each time that I went to the pump, I was focused on the person's face lighting up when I gave them a tip, when everybody else was griping about the prices and stuff. So, again, I was worried about the money, so I gave the money away, and it actually boosted my mood and probably boosted my income too. So, but
that's right. See,
same thing with loneliness.
I think, you know what, that's an awesome thing to say. I was listening to, I don't know if you ever heard of impact theory. There's a guy, his name is Tom Bilyeu, who hosts it and is the founder and all that good stuff. And he has all these cool guests on. And that's what one of the guests was saying. And as you're talking, it just kind of pinged my memory. But it's like, if you are feeling down or you feel lack or whatever, go help somebody else.
Yeah.
And I mean, and financially, if you can't give them money, that's fine. But if someone, you see them that they're lonely, or they're doing this, they're doing that, maybe go offer to, I empty the trash for my neighbor because she's sick. But, the best way to combat loneliness and depression is to actually just go help someone else. So that's awesome. That's a very good takeaway.
Also, just to get more peaceful, because anxiety is this general, you're anxious, you don't even know what you're anxious about. It's and it's so all pervasive. But I found I lead a meditation group on Wednesday mornings at a senior center. We sit around in a small circle. And sometimes when I get there, I've talked them into a more relaxed state, and then
How do you talk them into a more relaxed state? What do you say to them?
well,
So pretend we're doing that now. So we come into the room. How do you get our energy to kind of, come down and be relaxed? What are the words?
well, it's interesting because when everyone comes in, they're all chattery and everything,
Sure.
and they're sitting around in the circle, and we dim the lights and shut the shades, for the meditation. And I've joked about it, but I've noticed that as soon as the lights dimmed, it's like this hush. It's like when you're in the theater and the lights dim and stuff. So
Yeah, it's a Pavlovian thing. It's like when the bell rings, we salivate. When the lights go down, it's time to relax. Chill out, kids. Sleep. Or watch the movie, right?
that's the first thing I do, and then
Right.
I just start lowering my voice. And I've noticed sometimes if you want to get someone's attention, you need to speak more softly instead of more loudly, because it
Yeah, they
causes,
have to go, huh? Yeah.
They turn
right,
it off.
right.
Kids.
But then I talk us through a progressive relaxation from head to toe. And I always stress this is not something that they have to wait and do on Wednesday morning. This is something that people can do at home. And just sit sit comfortably without your hands or your feet crossed so that the energy flows better in your body.
Hmm.
Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and then just start from your top of your head right down to your toes, and just pay attention to every muscle group and just start relaxing, the progressive relaxation.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing. We don't realize how much tension we're holding in our body until we start focusing. Even like instead of just saying relax your hands, I'll say, well, pay attention just to your thumbs or just to your index finger.
Really?
Really get specific. And
Okay.
there's something about the concentrating
Yep.
that's part of the process too. So,
Yep.
and what I was going to start to say about meditation is if I find myself after I've talked them down, sometimes I'm still having trouble getting as peaceful
Really?
as I would like.
I
So
can
what I do,
hypnotize myself so easy. I'll talk to someone and I'm like,
well, usually I can too, but maybe if I was rushing there last minute or something,
Sure.
I find the easiest way to bring myself down to peace is to send it to everyone in the room. I can picture who's sitting where in the circle, and I just start picturing, Mary being more peaceful, or, Jackie or whatever. And as I'm picturing them being more peaceful and sending it to them, bam, I go right down, like you say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You know what? As you're talking, you just got to trigger. I do some hypnosis. I'm not a hypnotherapist. I'm just a certified hypnotist. Okay. So, but the greatest danger is like when I do like a group of people, I'm always afraid they're going to fall off the chairs. At home, I have this very comfortable chair, and so if you're doing a one-on-one, they just get very relaxed. Sometimes they fall asleep or whatever. But I was doing a session at Tewksbury High School, and there's this woman, because we're sitting in a conference room, and this woman, and I could see her going just like this. And I actually walked over to her and pushed her back up in her seat, because I think the greatest danger is like, they're like, oh, are you going to make me dance like a chicken? Are you going to do this? And I said, no, the greatest danger to you is that if you get too relaxed, you'll fall off your chair, And one of them almost did. But you can get very, very relaxed. And like you said, you turn down the lights and it triggers in the body, okay, we're going to start our session. So if you do that enough, then your body just knows, okay, it's time to relax, time to relax. And apparently I've been doing it enough years that I also relax myself one time I was doing hypnosis, and I didn't say anything for a few minutes, and then I finally opened my eyes, and I'm like, what time is it? You know, and the person was still like out flat. But I think I can hypnotize myself the best. So I think that is one way you can get people to relax, is through meditation. And I've actually done meditations and whatnot online, certainly. Are you doing your meditations online as well? Like you could do a Zoom thing like this and do a meditation. Hint, hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Yes, I have not done that yet. My son and I created that meditation CD for beginners, as you know.
What's the name of it? What's the name of it?
Answers from Within.
And how can people get like a copy of that?
On Amazon, if you put in my full name, Paula Richards, Answers from Within,
Okay.
it'll pop up. It's downloadable, or you can get the hard copy.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
Also, and I can't remember what for now exactly, but through the senior center, I shared the links with them, so they can share
Nice.
with people.
Okay. Or people can actually, you are the founder of Spirit Rising Ministries. All right. So people could actually contact you through there as well, correct?
Yes.
All right. Awesome.
Definitely.
Okay. So
the other thing I want to say about meditation is, once it becomes a more regular practice for you, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, but the more you practice and the more peaceful and relaxed you get, the more you're open up to getting guidance and answers to the things you're struggling with. And right now we're all saying, what do we do? What do we do?
Sure.
How do we combat the loneliness? What do we do financially and everything else? And it's amazing the guidance that you can get. It's that you're getting in touch with a higher part of yourself. Some people think of it as God. Some people think of it as intuition. But
whatever the label is. So
whatever
let me ask you a question.
Let me ask you wisdom available to us, and we can access it far, far better when we're peaceful and in meditation.
Sure. So when you do your group, all right, and you get everyone to relax, you get them in a relaxed state, are you then just kind of letting them sit there and relax? Or are you coaching the meditation, walk through this door, meet your higher self, ask a question? How does that work?
I don't do a lot of coaching. Sometimes for 5 or 10 minutes prior to the meditation, we might discuss a certain topic, about accessing inner guidance or whatever. And I might remind them of that after I've helped them physically relax. But then there's usually about 10 or 15 minutes where we just have soft music on. And I'll say it's time to come back into the room. So at that point, they're self-guided.
All right. So someone, that's a nice thing. So someone who is feeling anxious or feeling lonely or feeling a little depressed, they actually can kind of get quiet and go within a little bit, and that will help. Now, what about, do you have any recommendations or ideas about people who are not alone? Okay, we have several people who are moms and dads with kids, and now they're working from home, they're having to be teachers, teach the kids. And then one woman, and this was kind of funny, she says that she has to do more housework because her husband's home and he's he's a sloth. I have to pick up after him and the kids and teach the kids and all this good stuff. So what about, now we talked about loneliness and isolation, and what about the people who are having to adjust? What kind of recommendations, if any, any ideas there, how they can kind of work together?
I'm smiling because I've been so much on the opposite end of the spectrum for so long that I don't think I've really thought too much about that, but
Well,
I mean, I can address it from the standpoint of just my mom and I. We love each other dearly. We've always had a good relationship. But 4 years ago, when I moved in with her, I was used to living alone. She was used to living alone, and all of a sudden,
yeah.
we're thrown together, and it can be very challenging. No matter how much you love each other or get along.
So what are some techniques that you used to kind of, because a lot of, like I say, a lot of people are now thrown into situations where it's not hello, good morning, I'm going to work, with the kids is now everyone is home. So
Yeah.
how did you, what did you, your techniques, your inner work, what did you do to help with that?
Well, for the elderly, structure is a big help too.
And how did you deal with it? Because now they're
Well, I'm
thrown
sure
into a
she
pot.
does with her mom. So her mom kind of knows what's going to happen during the day, so she's not feeling lost. Is that true for you?
A routine does help.
Right.
Okay, so
Um,
structuring for the family. That's a good idea.
Lately, with increasing dementia, the routine's not as reliable
Yeah, yeah.
as it was. But and there are times we would clash. But having done a lot of inner work, I understand that guidance is available to us in every moment, in every situation, and I'm fully aware that love is the answer to every problem and every question. Does that mean I remember and
When you're
use
like
them
all
over?
frazzled, is that what comes to you, right? Oh, yeah, I love this person.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't, but I can remember one evening in particular, and we were really butting heads. And all of a sudden, I had the wherewithal to ask for higher guidance. How can I do this differently? And all of a sudden, out of the blue, I found myself blurting out, "Mom, I'm so sorry we're fighting. I don't want to be angry at you." And we hugged, and I mean, it just totally dissipated,
Wow,
just
wow.
like that. So I can't stress enough that guidance is always available to us. And
Yeah. But I have to say, in defense of the rest of the world, maybe, that like when you're angry or you're feeling anxious, you're trained, all right? You're trained to go within and say, okay, it's like before we started the show here, I said, oh my God, I lost the link here, and blah, 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 or this or that. So I had to take a deep breath and say, all right, let me work with this, blah, blah. But I think generally speaking, people, I've seen people fly off the handle, they're anxious, so they say things to each other. I think Deb had a really good suggestion. Like if there's still a lot of people in the house, like I have a family of 5, okay, and they're in each other's hair, and the husband's throwing his socks around on the floor, blah, blah, blah. So nerves are frazzled. So if you kind of structure, okay, for this part of the day, we're going to do our homework for that part of the day, we can do. So a little bit of structuring works not only good for the older people, it probably works good for the
Well,
kids
yeah,
and the rest of us.
put all your clothes in a laundry basket, and one child will bring it down the cellar.
It has to be fun, though. And we're not doing it.
Throw it in.
There, yes. So I think that's a really good idea. And do you remember Alinda Thomas, Paula?
who?
Alinda?
Oh.
She was, if you saw her, you would remember her. She is absolutely unforgettable. We talked to her for a little bit the other day, and she was saying, what was she saying? Well, I forget where I was going with it. Oh, I know. We were talking about, she's like, good, I'm glad you know, because I don't. But we were talking about structure, and what she said is actually talk to teachers, which was totally like duh to me, because I had not thought of it because I don't have any children. But she was like, contact the teachers, find out, what the kids need to do.
This is regarding their schoolwork.
Schoolwork, yeah,
Right.
regarding schoolwork.
That kind of gets lost in the shuffle. You try as a mother to try to get them to sit there, but there's so many distractions.
Right.
The other family members walking by and the kids, you know, saying something funny. So they're totally distracted. They want a snack. And then you turn it back and they're gone. I took care of 2 kids for 2 weeks.
Where'd those kids go?
And I was like, I think I'll go back to taking care of elderly.
Take care of elderly. Well, you know, the reason that this came up in conversation.
I have to interrupt you.
Sure, go right
Because
ahead.
dealing with things at home. I'm going to let you continue talking together for a minute. I need to check on my mom.
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead and check on Mom, and we're going to chit chat. So there are a couple of other guests here in the room. So what we were talking about is actually this family of 5. What ended up happening is the mother got a notice from her youngest daughter's teacher saying that her assignments were late or they weren't turned in at all. So the mother, of course, was like, what assignments? What are you talking about? So the teacher had sent out this kind of group email. This is what needs to be done. This is when it needs to be handed in, so on and so forth. But the mother is busy. She has 3 kids. So she doesn't sit at the computer. She never got the message. So now she's like, what assignment are you talking about? So now this kid doesn't, you know.
Well, she's got to be the teacher.
So the way that we were thinking you could combat that is if you have kids who are now being taught remotely, is call the teacher, all right? Because it's not easy for a teacher or anyone else to actually get in touch with every single family student in the class. So naturally, they use a group email. On the other hand, some parents are not sitting in front of the computer 24/7 because they're bringing up their families. And
Well,
so
you know, children have friends. So if you are friends with one of the parents of a friend,
Do it
you
together.
can take turns getting on the computer and doing it with the friend,
Or
you know, the
something
child
like
with the
this.
friend and one of the mothers, you know, maybe every night. That may work too, because kids react better with peer pressure.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
if they're with a friend, they'll pay attention
Right,
more, I
right.
think.
And distance, don't disconnect, stay in touch. Call your neighbors or I mean, now you don't even have to be a neighbor. You can contact someone, you know, across the state and do your homework together or talk and do cool stuff like that. So
That's one thing with this pandemic. If we were going to have something that affects everyone globally, thankfully we have the technology right now to reach out to people all over the world, and we truly are in this together in a way that we couldn't have been, you know, 50 years ago.
yeah, definitely.
Or whatever.
That is so true. When I think now about how lonely and isolated people feel, even with this kind of technology, what would it be like if we weren't able to reach out this way? You're right.
Yeah.
And to know that everybody else is in the same boat.
No, we're not in the same boat. We had this discussion.
Well, we're all supposed to be inside.
We're talking about, you know, some people say, yeah, we're all in the same boat, but actually we're not. You're not in the same boat. You're okay. Some people are not okay. Some people have children to worry about.
I mean, it's not like you're being singled out.
Well, I'm not saying it to disagree with you. I'm just trying to get the awareness out there that everyone is going through a different situation.
Well, different stages of it, but technically we're all supposed to be inside. Right?
Yeah,
well,
all inside.
And
Go ahead.
We're all experiencing it differently, but we're all connected. We're all part of one mind, and if someone else is suffering, that's our business too. And we feel it, but you know.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of fear out there. Unfortunately, I think a lot of it is kind of planned that way.
Don't watch TV.
Don't watch TV. Yeah.
The news, anyway. Yeah. The news.
Or at least I watch just a very little bit of news every day to make sure that there's not some major change that I need to know about. But mostly it was like Mr. Rogers used to say, his mother used to tell him, if if you watch the news and the disasters and everything, look for the helpers.
Yeah.
And when I watch the news, I'm looking for the helpers, and I'm just so overwhelmed with gratitude and so humbled by what people are doing.
Yeah, that's what I say too. All the heroes are coming out, and it's like they were always there, but now, we're seeing them, and not just with the nurses and the doctors, the grocery workers, the truck drivers, because, who the heck thinks of the truck drivers? But you would not be able to get your groceries and whatnot if the trucks weren't driving.
Or the people that fill the trucks.
People that fill the trucks. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even the people that are staying home now, how much more are we going to appreciate our hairstylists?
Yeah, you're really hitting home now.
I was in the store waiting, and there's so many guys with masks on, which pulls their head on, but it's all curls. It looks so cute. They all need haircuts.
They all need haircuts, and
but all the hairs are curling.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Technology now. I was part of a Zoom meeting that is a group down in Mexico. It's a spiritual community, and every morning at 9:30 they have a gathering, and I wanted to go check their place out, and of course I can't travel right now with my mom, but now with the pandemic I couldn't travel anyways.
sure.
And lo and behold, they decided to open up their morning sessions to the world through Zoom. I mean, now they're right in my living room, and I can check out what they're doing. And one of the comments that he made, he said, "We're not contracting. Look at us." He said, "We're expanding, through this pandemic." And I think that's true. I think we are.
I think we are also.
Yeah.
I think we are also.
Something far greater is trying to be birthed within humanity. And unfortunately, birthing pains are often pretty tough. Birth can be pretty painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I think the earth is, trying to heal herself, and, you see evidence of that, the
Yes.
dolphins back in the canals in Venice and all this
The air
good stuff.
quality is much better in different places.
Yeah.
You can finally see buildings.
I have to say, I was lucky enough to spend some time in Hawaii, and I remember coming back, and we were in the airport at Boston, and honest to God, it smelled like this humongous oil or gas leak. And I was like, oh my God, what happened? What happened? But it was just,
Cars exhaust?
car exhaust and just, just
Oh.
dirty air. And then of course, I live in the north part. So as I was getting closer to home, the air quality did better. But I'll tell you, it was quite a wake up call.
I noticed that I hadn't been up into the Vermont area for a few years, and I went up last year with my friend, with Kathy. And one of the most memorable things about the trip was how sweet the air smelled.
The air, yes. And you wouldn't think, we take it for granted, and when you get a contrast, boy, oh boy, are you aware of it.
Right. Tree.
And I think that's part of what we're experiencing here, in spite of all of the difficulty and sacrifice. And I don't mean to minimize anyone's pain or sacrifice, but I think we're also seeing, oh, this is how it could be. It could be better.
Right. I feel like we're seeing all these heroes come out, and there's a lot of positivity that's coming out of this. It's difficult to talk to someone who has lost someone or who's gone through a painful situation and try to say to them, look, there is another side to this, but there actually is. And someone said, I can't wait for things to get back to normal. I said, well, they better not go back to normal. This is how we got in this position to begin with.
I don't know if it'd ever be normal.
No,
Not
and
like we
don't
knew.
want it
Not
to be.
what we knew.
And what was normal is what created the problem.
Change.
Exactly. And online, I saw her saying,
Change.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
That's
didn't-
okay. Go right ahead, honey. We can hear you.
There was a saying online that was saying, before we rush to get back to normal, we need to think about how much of normal we really want to get back to.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
totally agree. Totally agree.
What's normal other than one of the, one of the knobs on your washing machine? Really, what is normal?
Yeah, normal is different for everyone, but like I said, normal is how we got in this situation to begin with. So, whether you believe, that the virus was planted or that it came to us through animals, the bottom line is it's here. We're having to deal with it, and we can choose to deal with it in a positive way or in a negative way.
Well, we're sure going to be washing our hands a lot more. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Like we do now.
There was
Still.
a thing on Facebook, and I don't know who wrote it, but I actually kind of shared it because it was like, now we have, it used to be so important to hug and kiss the people that you cared about, your family. Now it's not okay. Before it was like desirable. You go visit your older friends and parents in nursing homes. Now you can't. It's like all the things that we took for granted and we should have maybe cherished or been more aware of. Now those things are actually taken away from us. And
The closeness.
yeah. People miss, the actual touch and, so they're coming up with all these new ways of doing things, but it's an eye opener for sure.
it is. And a lot of the things that are coming out more and more, and it's coming from all kinds of different companies that you wouldn't think.
Yeah.
It's all about self-care,
Yes.
introspection, reaching out to others.
Yeah.
It's what would have been considered new agey stuff a while
Years
ago.
ago. Yeah.
And now it's becoming the norm, and we're being forced to develop coping skills. It, we just have we have to, or we'd go a little bit bonkers.
Yeah, some of us were already there. Okay, so I think so maybe a good takeaway certainly is for people who are on their own to reach out to other people, either, or doing some journaling on their own. They can always read your book. They can always read Paula's book and, get into some meditation, so on and so forth. And like I said, people who are kind of on an awareness journey may be more aware of that.
Well,
some people aren't.
Read a book with some friends and then discuss it at night.
Yeah.
That's always fun to do.
I have a friend who
Book clubs
loves
are
to read.
popping up.
Say it again. Say it again. I missed it.
Book clubs are
Book
popping up.
clubs are awesome.
Yep.
Plus, I have a girlfriend who likes to read, and I said to her, read a chapter or two, and record yourself. I said, then upload it to like retirement homes or even kids, and read to them. People who would not sit there and do stuff like that. So reach inside. The best way for you to feel okay is to help someone else. So I think that's a good takeaway from today's conversation, is to help someone else. That will help you as well. For those who are not into the meditation, so on and so forth, just reach out, call, do a video chat.
Even
games.
sometimes you can offer to do grocery shopping for an elderly neighbor or someone who can't, get out at all. Oh my gosh, I do that all the time.
And it makes you feel good, makes them feel good, so it's what I call a win-win.
Yeah, I've had plenty of people, neighbors, and some of mom's
Sure.
neighbors calling, if you need anything or whatever.
Okay, so reaching out, and if you can't reach out, journal. When it comes to like families, maybe do some scheduling and schedule in some fun stuff. Talk to teachers so that you know what's expected of you, of your kids, type of thing. So actionable things that people can do to actually make this not such a lonely experience for themselves. Make a difference. Make a difference in the world. Like I said, there's all these heroes popping up all over the place. It's like, oh gosh, I got to step up my game here. These people are so good,
I know one of the questions I've been asking really a lot over this last week or so is, how can I serve from here at home? How can I serve? How can I serve? And then you pop up and say, would you like to be on a show?
How would you like to talk to us, Paula? We need you. We need you. Yeah, and that's one of the belief systems that I have, is that everyone has a strong interest in something. We all have creativity. We all have some kind of talent. Okay, even if it's reading a book, all right, and reading to other people. Everyone has a talent. So focus, like take your talent and add value to people's lives with it, and make a difference. Make the world a better place. This is your world. Make it a better place. So I think if you're doing that, then you have a cause and a reason. So then you're not getting down, or you're not getting depressed. And
When we have lemons, make lemonade.
make lemonade. And I think it's important, to your point.
I was just on one of the shows the other night. This lady, she lived in Maine, and she would pick up moose droppings, and she actually started gluing them on paper with all kinds of artistic work, and she's making a lot of money online
Moose dropping?
on moose
Moose dropping?
droppings.
Yeah,
I was amazed.
That's
But-
one talent.
I don't know. Some of the pictures were really pretty. Very, very nice. But she was talking about it, how she just one day took a walk and saw a lot of it, and
She saw a very creative plop or something.
I guess they're little round things.
Oh, I see.
But,
I don't know if I know what moose droppings
well,
look
I
like.
wouldn't either. But I was like, that is so bizarre, unbelievable. But
Hey, it's a direction.
yeah,
It's a
she was
direction.
talking about contacting all these people online, and they're ordering her pictures.
Or
And
moose droppings.
she's making money.
Well, that's what you call a win-win situation, when you can find your passion, add value to people's lives, and you're still, making money to have a roof over your head. That counts.
Something else.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter, focus on something. If you're feeling down or you're feeling isolated, focus on something, because if you're focused on becoming a better musician or a better artist, you just pick it up and just hang it back up. You don't have to listen. I apologize. My phone is going off, these nice informal chit-chat thingies. I should have taken it off the hook. So, find something that you're really interested in, focus on that. That will stop isolation. Reach out to other people, because a lot of people are in the same situation. Do some video chat. The best way to feel good is to reach out and actually help other people.
Make someone else feel good.
So
Exactly, yeah.
When you don't feel good, make someone else feel good, and then it comes back.
it definitely comes back. Like you said, it's kind of like seed money going on here. Okay, so the journey of spirit rising is the name of your book. Okay, so, and also you're coming out with another book, correct? Do we already have a name for this one?
I'm deep into writing a second book. I think it's going to be called Making Sense of Life.
Nice.
Steps
Nice.
to Joy and Inner Peace.
We really need that now. Can you come up with it now?
And
Yeah, right now.
I'm not claiming to have all the answers, but I'm writing to help share tools with people, different ways of looking at the world.
Definitely.
If we keep looking at things the same way, we're going to get the same things coming back to us over and over again. We need to expand our
Right.
horizons, how we look at things.
How we look at things makes a big difference, because, and hopefully this is not too far off topic, but things that occur actually don't have a positive, negative value. Our reaction to them does. Like coronavirus does not create fear. People are creating the fear. Okay, and some of it on purpose, but the virus itself doesn't, our reaction to it is what makes it positive or negative. And that's true of just about everything in our lives, you know? So if you have a challenging situation and you kind of work with it and you get something positive out of it, then that situation becomes positive. If you let it get you down, then it becomes a negative. And I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead, honey.
Yeah, I was saying everything is actually neutral.
Right.
And it's
right.
what we bring to it. Yeah.
Right. Our emotions, our reactions are what make it seem negative or positive. But you're right. The actual event itself is not, you know, positive or negative at all.
Right.
So, and that's where training comes in and is helpful.
It does, because if it were the situations that were actually the problem, because we've all had experiences about someone's behavior driving us nuts on one day,
Yeah.
not phasing us at all on another day.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
it's different. Our state of mind is different. The
Right.
situation isn't different.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also a person whose behavior irritates you, it's usually because it's pushed a button inside, and that, you know, maybe on a deeper level, if you have time, and you certainly have time now, you can kind of look at that and say, why does that bother me?
Oh, mothers have a way of doing that, let me tell you. I have an
Push buttons.
89-year-old mother.
Yeah, you
God
both.
bless them.
Yeah, you're both managing adult care at this point. So, all right, my darling, we don't want to keep you too much longer. I would just really, really want to thank you. This is your second appearance with us, and we want to do another one when when we can see each other on a physical level. That would be really, really nice. We'd like to talk to you again. And if you have your book, or by then we can see what's in there and talk about that a little bit. Do you have any parting advice for the zillions and zillions of people who might be watching this?
I think we need to get more comfortable with not knowing the future. I think
Good one.
we're being almost forced to live in the present moment, because nobody can tell us where this is going or when it's going to end or anything. And it's our future worries and our past regrets that keep us from experiencing the joy and love and peace that's right here available to us right now in the present moment. So
very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we thank you, and again, let people know how they can get in touch with you or see your work. Facebook, Spirit Rising. Tell them how they can get in touch with you.
If you go to spiritrisingministries.com, you can get in touch with me through there. Okay.
Yeah. That is absolutely awesome, my darling. We do have a person before we actually go. There's Carol. Carol is with us. Carol, do you have any questions for Paula or Mia Deb? Carol, are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
You're good. Did you enjoy talking and listening to us?
Yes, very nice.
You are awesome. I remember you. I remember meeting you. So I hope we get to see each other again.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Thank you, everyone. We're going to sign off and talk to you soon.
Be well.
Take care, everybody.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Paula.
Bye.